welcome to a new video. Today we're going to answer the question, how do you take in an item or a piece of clothing that you ordered that was too big and you needed to be actually altered about 1 to 2 sizes, and you want the finish to be really, really neat. So that is what we're doing today. Okay, so I recently ordered a skirt online and it's gorgeous. I found it on Pinterest and couldn't get it out of my head, and then actually put it on my to sew list, but then when I saw it and where to get it, I just had to buy it. So that's what happened. But when it arrived, unfortunately, it was a bit too big. So this is the skirt I'm talking about. It's so gorgeous with that pleated front. It's also a little bit longer, and I really love it. But if you look here, you can see it looks amazing, but it's too big, unfortunately. So anyway, I have an event already tomorrow actually that I want to wear it for, so I don't have time to send it back and wait to get a new one. And I actually also don't have the patience. Whenever I get items or when I shop online and they arrive and they are not the correct size, I just alter them. Very few times I will send them back. It has to be super intricate details or whatever. So if you can relate to that feeling of I don't want to wait for this to go back and then a new size to come, this is definitely the video for you. Yeah, I'm going to show you all the steps that I'm going to take, as well as add a little bit of, even if it's not a skirt, this could be done on a pair of pants, this could be done on a shirt as well. So yeah, just come along for that. Really quickly before we jump into how to do the skirt and how to do it nicely, here's how to do it less nice, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you have a piece of clothing that you really just need to take in, especially around the waist, and you don't have time to undo darts or undo stitches and sew again the way we're going to do today, then my best tip and basically the trick that is just to look for the seams. Where are the seams? Where are the darts? Can you just sew them, gather them? So I brought a pair of pants here. This is a pair of pants that I ordered recently. They were way too big on the waist, but I kind of liked that they were quite loose around my thighs and my legs. So what I did was I just found the middle seam in the back here, this one. If you have a trained eye, you can probably see what I did, but if you don't, you really don't, you can't. And when I'm wearing the pants, I usually have a t-shirt or a top or whatever that goes down, a little bit over the back here, so it doesn't show. But either I could have chosen to, fix the darts like we're gonna do today, or I can just take in, we're talking about, I would say anywhere from 2 to 8 centimeters, you can take down the center seam of a pair of pants. So I really just gathered that together. I took away the label that was on the back, and then I sewed along the middle stitch here, the center back stitch. So it was probably out here. So I just moved that stitch in, and then as I was sewing, I was gradually coming back to the original seam so that it's really just an added dart where you cut off the extra fabric. It's super easy. All right, anyway, let's move on to the skirt. That's why you're here. Okay, so we have our skirt here and we have our backside here. I haven't even taken off the tags, but we're gonna do that. Anyway, I'm gonna turn it over. That's the first thing. Look at the back here and just say, what seams do I have to work with? So it could be a side seam that we wanted to take in, and it could also be the dart seams that you can see here. With this skirt, we can definitely work with these, and I think we actually will. But it would have been easier if this dart was a continuous dart, or, you know, if they didn't have that added detail here with this extra stitch. Anyway, I'm gonna look for the seams that I have to work with. Now, on the pants, I could take them in the center seam of the back. We cannot do that with this skirt because it has the zipper in the center back. If it would have had the zipper in the side, it would have been easier, and we could have just worked with a center seam. So what do we do when we don't have a center seam to work with and we want to keep that gorgeous sandwiched invisible zipper? I've opened the zipper, so I'm just gonna open my dress, or open my skirt now again, and take a look on the inside. What I can see is that there are no darts, actually. There are no stitches on the inside. So they've just pleated the lining fabric, and that's great because that means we have one less stitch to do. We're gonna do the same. But then you will notice that we also have this border up here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna start with deciding on where I want to take in my skirt. For me, that would be this stitch right here and right here. So I'm gonna take those in. And then I also want to, if we take them in here, we obviously also have to take in the waistline, and we want to do that because the waistline is what's too big. So I'm gonna end up with a extended stitch up like this. And that's really only going to be the tricky part in this process, making this stitch and the new stitch up here align. But yeah, I'm going to work with this stitch right here, and I'm going to create an extra stitch right here. Yes. So the first step in this process is actually going to be some seam ripping. I'm going to start by ripping the stitch here. I'm going to rip it probably about this much. And I'm gonna do the same on the lining side, so I'm probably gonna rip it like this much. The next thing I'm going to do is see where I'm at with the stitch right here. I don't think I'll actually rip it, but I will gather it on the inside. So as I have it exposed and I have my lining, you know, separated from the outer fabric, I'm gonna see what I have to work with in this stitch, and if I can get away with not undoing it, just gathering it, or if I have to undo it. I'm gonna do that on both sides, and I'm thinking that the first step I'll do is just the seam ripping, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. The skirt, we've also had some sun come out, so that's amazing. Anyway, I've opened up the lining and the outer fabric on the skirt section, and I've opened up the waistband as well. It looks a little gory when you do these things, and you just have to trust the process that it will all come back together. But yeah, so I can see now it's really nicely tailored. It has the top stitching interfacing on the outer fabric on the inside. That stuff you can't see, right? Unless you undo some seams. A little bit surprised to see that it's not overlocked or like properly finished, but I guess it doesn't matter in this place, in this placement. You wouldn't see that anyway. Either way. The first thing I'm going to do, so remember, I want about this much taken in, meaning about 8 centimeters. That means that I'm gonna do 4 centimeters on each side, which means that when I gather these stitches, like where they really need to come in, so at the very top here and at the top here, that's gonna be a 2 centimeter, like a 2 centimeter stitch is gonna give a 4 centimeter grab, which is gonna add up to 8 centimeters at the waist total. The first thing I'm going to do is actually work on this stitch, because one, we need to know where the dart will end up so that we can align it when adjusting the waistband, and two, it's just the easier way to go, because when I look at this and not going to be able to top stitch on the inside, if I wanted to, I would essentially have to open up the lining down here as well, and we don't want to undo this whole thing. But I also want to gather the lining actually, like before we fix the waistband. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take my stitch here and then nicely flatten the seam, or like flatten the fabric in a way so that I have leeway to sew. So I'm pulling it in like this, and we all know it starts down here, so I need to work my 2 centimeters. I'm gonna start out my stitch here, approximately, maybe here. And then I'm just gonna make that dart. So I'm gonna sew from here and then make my way back to the original stitch in the length of the fabric that I have to work with. So we're gonna start out here, and then we're gonna make our way all the way down there, and we're obviously gonna do that on both sides. I have made my first 2 stitches, so the first 2 panels. And here, I decided to leave the original stitch in place when I started my stitch, so that I had a guidance of that I wanted to take those 2 centimeters turning into 4 centimeters, because it's all double, right? And then once I had made my stitch, I undid the original stitch so that we're later on going to be able to, you know, press this really flat and nice. And I also was able to see that I'd actually gotten the appropriate amount of fabric taken in. So you can see what a difference that is, right? It's all of this taken in on both sides. On the outside, now it's still gory because we haven't, you know, cleaned this up yet, but on the outside it looks like this on both sides. So you can see, you know, it doesn't really change, and that's exactly what we want. We still have those 2 panels, we still have that dart stitch, but now we want to move on to the waistline. We've also opened up the waistline, right? We have this waistband on the skirt that's really pretty, and I want to keep it that way. I don't want any like bulky stitches on the inside. I want it all to lay flat. So I have, as I've done my first stitch right here, I want to be able to align the cut I will make in the waistband with this stitch, so that on the outside it looks neat and it looks like it's one big dart that just goes up, that they're not misaligned or anything. So what I'm gonna do now is, first of all, I'm just gonna gather and see, okay, how much of the waistband will actually come in. So I'm laying it flat, and we can see, okay, this is probably what we're gonna take off of the waistband, so about this much, and that also fits nicely with the measurements we're already working with, 8, 4, and 2 centimeters. I opened up the waistband so that I'm able to do the stitch like this, because that will give us a smooth and nice surface on the inside, and it's also gonna give us that dart stitch on the outside. So the next stitch is actually going to be like this. I'll do that again. So we have the waistband here, we have our dart here. I'm gonna turn my waistband this way so that I know where I'm gonna sew. Lay it flat like this. So I'm gonna sew like that. And I want that stitch to line up with my first stitch. So I'm gonna be really careful, maybe even pin this, but I'm just gonna gather this nicely and then figure out, okay, I think it's about here where my 2 stitches meet, and place my stitch accordingly. All right. I have gone ahead and done this stitch as well. So this is what it looks like now. When we turn her right sides out, you can see here that the top stitch align and that the back 2 stitches will align nicely. What I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna press these stitches a bit so they lay flat nicely, and then I'm also going to trim some of the excess fabric, so cut right here. And on the other side, I've actually already gone ahead and pinned a little bit. So you can see here we have a bigger pleat on the lining fabric, and on the back side, like I haven't sewn yet, right? So this will lay flat, but on the back side we have that lineup. I'm gonna go ahead and just trim and press, and then I'll come back to you with the final 2 stitches. This is what she looks like right now. I've just pressed the seams like I said. So we have 2 stitches left, so 2 on each side left. The first one is to actually attach the 2 outer fabric layers, so closing the seam right here. So on the inside, I am going to match up these 2 pieces here. So these 2, and do a stitch straight across, and then the last stitch is going to be tucking in our lining so that the lining matches the new width, and then close that seam right here. That would be the outer fabric stitch done, so the first out of the last 2. And the only thing we have to close now is the lining. From the outside, still need to press her, but it looks really, really nice and good and neat. And now on the inside, I actually don't have any tan sewing thread, so I'm just gonna pin this up. So make sure that I pleat the lining so that it fits the length of the outer fabric like that, and I'm gonna sew along here, but I think I actually might hand sew this. So let me just do that and give her a quick press, and then I'll come back to you guys with the final fit. People, here is the final fit. My outfit totally goes together except from the neck up, but it's fine. Yeah, she sits at the waist where she's supposed to sit, and I'm super happy with the way this turned out. The hand stitching ended up looking like this. It's not the best work I've done, but since I didn't have any tan thread, this was the only way to solve it, and it looks fine. It looks, you know, it doesn't show, right? If I would have had tan colored thread, I would have just sewn in the, like in the ditch here, but on the back side, I would have sewn in the ditch to attach the lining on the inside. But she is done. I really think the design of this skirt is so cool. I ended up having to remove the label that says Karen Millen on the inside, and I'm not going to attach it again. But if you're the type of person who likes to keep the labels in, you can obviously just save the label and then attach it again once you are done adjusting your skirt. Alright guys, peace out. I'll see you next Monday. Bye!